Hello and welcome back. Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, so first thing I wanted to say was thank you to everybody who came up to me and who said nice things about the content I've created. It's very much appreciated. I'm glad I can help out people, entertain, inform, however you want to consume the content. That's brilliant. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay, so secondly, I wanted to announce two new sponsorship deals that I've got. I'm currently representing Spider Veins and Shrewd. Very excited. I can't wait to get the season started. There's two massive brands within archery, and they've put their faith in me to represent them. So I am exceptionally grateful to them for what they're doing for me, and hopefully I can reciprocate that in the future. Now, the plan for the channel going forward is to basically just put as much information out into the public domain as possible. So if anybody needs any specific information, let me know. I might have that information for you, and then I can put it out there, and then everybody's got the information, because that's what this is all about. Now, specifically this video, we're going to talk about the UK rankings. What they are, why you would need one, how you find them, how they're calculated, and basically everything in between. So first of all, what is a UK national ranking? It is a list of people with a number by their name. Highest number goes at the top. That's it in a nutshell, and that benchmarks you. So the best will be at the top. I hesitate to use the word worst because I don't think there's a worst person in archery. But if you are bottom of the table, your performances may not have been as good as the people above you. Definitely not to say you're the worst. Okay, so why would you want one of these completely arbitrary numbers? It's a benchmark, so you can see where you fall on the list and say, okay, I need to get better, or okay, I'm good, how do I keep getting good? And that's pretty much it. So the top 30 will get entry into the big flagship competitions from Archery GB, so that's the National Tour, the British Target Championships, the Masters, and all those. You used to only get access to the Masters when you are in the top 30, or if you had a Grandmaster Bowman or Master Bowman classification. They have now changed that, so this year the Masters is going to be open competition for anybody to participate. I've never made the Masters, so this year would have been the first time I would have legitimately made the Masters, and now everybody can come. But it's very exciting to go to the Masters for the first time this year, hopefully, and we'll see how that one goes. So, to summary, all you get is early entry for top 30 finish, as well as bragging rights for people at your club. So, a competitive archer would like to know where they finish. Let's just put it that way. Now, where do you find them? Archery GB website. Dead simple. There's a menu called Compete, and then the national rankings are in there. I will put a link and an image on where to find them. So, the fun bit. How do you get a national ranking? Very, very simple. You are given points depending on where you qualify in a tournament. Now, the tournament has to be UK or world record status. I will cover what UK and world record status are in another video. Probably the next one. But you will be allocated points from these competitions, and from these points they will all be added together from 5 competitions. Your best 5 performances over the season will be added together, and that number will put you in the list, in the rankings. Okay, so if you perform and win every single tournament, then you've got maximum points, and chances are you'll finish top in the UK. There is a caveat to that. Again, I'll get to that later when I talk about how we calculate the points. Now, recurve and compound, you don't need to do anything. All the results are calculated for you, and you just have to turn up at these competitions and wait for your ranking to be updated. Okay, so to get a barebow ranking for men, you need to participate in 5 competitions. You need to do 2 720 rounds at 50 meters with a big face. That's the new standard barebow round. You need to do 2 1440 rounds, which is 36 arrows, 4 specific distances depending on your gender and age. You need to do 1 York, which is again 3 distances, 6 dozen at one, 4 dozen at another, and 2 dozen at the other. That's what you had to do in 2022. Now, I'm not sure if it's being revised at the moment. I'm not sure if it's going to stay like that. I hope it changes. I hope it all becomes automatic. I hope you only have to do one specific round, because finding a York and two 1440s is very, very difficult these days. Which is a shame that those rounds are dying out, but hopefully they get a renaissance, which would be nice. But yes, so now how are the scores calculated? There is a tier system. Each competition is ranked into a tier. Now there are 4 tiers. There's tier 1, tier 2, tier 2 plus, and tier 3. Now tier 1 is all the Archery GB flagship competitions, National Tour, British Target Championships, Masters, I believe there's others, but there is a full list of them on the Archery GB website of what they are. Now they get points for qualification and points for where you finish in the head-to-head. So if you finish top of your qualification, so on the 72 arrow round, if you finish at the top, you will get the full complement of, I believe it's 450 points. If you get all the way to the final and win, you get 300 points, I believe. So you've got a total of about 750 points that you can achieve from each tier 1 competition. So if you finish 10th and win, then you will get the points for 10th place qualification, and you will get the points for winning the head-to-head, and they are all added together. Okay? Bear in mind, this is just for compound and recurve. You still have to put your scores in for the barebow and longbow. This doesn't apply for them. Now, tier 2 is exactly the same. However, it does not apply to all the Archery GB flagship competitions. So if you go to something with a 70 meter head-to-head component, then you will get points for your qualification and you will get points for your head-to-head. Okay? So I believe the maximum points you can get for that is 500. So I believe it's 300 for qualification, 200 for winning the event in the knockout stages. Okay, so I've just had a check and I got it backwards. So the head-to-head component holds more weight. So it's 450 points for the tier 1 head-to-head and 300 points for the qualification round. Okay, so that's the maximum points, and then it goes down to 240, 210, 189, and in the head-to-head section 360, 315, 283.5. So you will get a total of those 2 points added together, and that will be what you get for tier 1. For tier 2, the ranking round is 200 points. The head-to-head is 300 points. That's the maximum you can get. So you get a maximum of 500 points per head-to-head competition that you attend. Now these competitions, they still have to be world record or UK record status, but they have to have a head-to-head component to be a tier 2. Now tier 2 plus, generally on a national tour event or on one of the big events, you have a second day. So there are 2 days, so it's over a weekend. So on one day you'll have your national tour where you have your 70 meter qualification round in your head-to-head, or 50 meters if you're compound or barebow. I think longbow shoots 70 meters still. Actually, I don't even think there's a longbow in the national tour, so that's irrelevant. I digress. So on days where there is a national tour event, on the first day, what has happened in the past, there has been a head-to-head day on the first day where everybody will compete in the head-to-heads, and on the second day they will put a double round on. So they will put two 720 rounds on. Okay, and that is what usually gets put in the tier 2 plus. And that is just there's no head-to-head component there, so it's literally just kind of first place to last place, and you will get points depending on where you finish, and the maximum is 600 points. So there is an advantage to going if you are going to finish in the top X amount. So because some people, they'll book into the first day in the national tour and they weren't coming to the second days, and the second days were looking a bit barren, so what they did is they added this tier 2 plus regime to try and encourage people to stay for the full weekend. And that's basically where that's come from. Your other tier is tier 3, and that covers things like the double 720s and 1440s. So 4 distances, 36 arrows, and that just starts at 300 points and works its way down. So that is the lowest tier you can get. So if you win that event, you will get 300 points. If you win a head-to-head ranking event that isn't a flagship, that's just like I think Merida have one, I think Wigan used to have one. There's a lot of 720s kicking about with head-to-head components, and basically you get 500 points for them. National Tour, if you win with qualifying, with top qualifier, you get 750 points. So really the maximum you can get is probably, if you win all 5 National Tour events and qualify top, you're going to finish top in the UK without a doubt, because nobody can beat that. That's the maximum you can get. And then obviously you've got the tier 2 plus, which generally follows the National Tour events, or one of the big flagship events. British Target Championships has a 720 with a head-to-head component. That will be a tier 1 event. The day after, the 1440, that will be a tier 2 plus event, not a tier 3 event. Okay, it basically just doubles the points from a tier 3 to make it more enticing for people to stay for the full weekend. Now, that's basically the tier system in a nutshell. A very, very big nutshell full of lots of nuttiness. Now you know what the UK ranking system is, you know how to get one, you know how they're calculated. You could go out and you could get one. Brilliant, well done. Usually on the website, the scores, especially in the early season, are updated either every Wednesday or every other Wednesday, or sometimes every Thursday. Now, as the season progresses, they're not updated as much anymore. I don't know why this is. Everyone I've reached out to, they're not quite sure. Now, from my belief, this is either because there's that many tournaments kicking about, especially around the end, that it takes a long time to put in, and they want to do it all at once, or it's a volunteer member who's doing this and they are getting absolutely swamped. The Facebook pages and the forums are swamped with abuse for people not updating the rankings, which I think is a bit crap, to be honest. Because people have put this system in place for archers to benchmark themselves and to give themselves a bit of visibility in the archery community. And to turn around and start abusing them because they're not doing it quick enough for me, it's a bit shady. I don't like that. That's not who I am. I would love it to be updated on the day. That'd be fantastic. Of course I want that. Everybody wants that. But realistically, is it going to happen? People have got different responsibilities. People aren't going to get paperwork in time. There's a big, massive chain from this is the competition to getting those results published. So, you know, if you have an inclination to go out there and go, just try and just take a step back and say, well, is this happening? Is this happening? Is there anything you can do to help? Is there anything we can do to help? You know, don't just go and be that keyboard warrior who just kind of like says, oh, well, this is terrible, you shouldn't be doing this. Try and be as helpful as you can. That's all I can say. That's basically it, really. Now, let's go into the fun bit. Manipulating the rankings. Now, as I'm sure a lot of people will know, there are counties and there are competitions where the competition is of a lesser standard. So you will have a high scoring field and low scoring field. If you go down to the likes of Oxford and I believe Warwickshire, you've got some of the GB lot down there. I think Shropshire as well. You've got some of the GB lot down there, and if you enter competitions in and around that area, you are likely to finish lower down in the field. So you finish lower down in the field, you get a lower ranking, but your opposition was better, but you still finish lower down in the rankings, so you still get the same amount of points. You head to somewhere up north, probably. I think up north is a lower scoring area, there's some scoring areas down south, and you get exactly the same score and exactly the same performance, and you win the event. You get 300 points or 600 points or 500 points, you still get all those points, but because the competition was not as good, if that's the correct word, then your score is going to be higher. That's one of my biggest problems with the ranking system, because it's not score based. If you score 650, that is a very, very, very good score at 70 meters for a recurve. I can't speak for, I think compound, a decent score is 700, but that's just a different world out there. I don't know what it is for longbow or for barebow. I think 670 odd. I think 73 is the world record for barebow, I believe. Don't quote me on it. But same principle applies. If you go to certain areas, the barebow folk are very, very talented. And even if you are a very, very talented barebow, recurve or compound, you could find yourself slipping a couple of places because the competition is so much stiffer. So what some people end up doing is playing the field. So some people will shoot at lower scoring places to boost their rankings. If they've got a score that they know is very, very low, so say they enter a tier 2 event and come out with 200 points. And think, well, you know, I was up against this Olympian and I was up against this #1 ranked person. What I'll do is I'll go and do a 1440 up here where there's no competition, win it, wipe that score off and get 300 points on the board. So they've got an extra 300 points for facing lesser competition. So that is my only problem with the rankings at the moment, the fact that they can be manipulated like that. But to be perfectly honest, I think that's the same in most disciplines of sport. Rankings can be manipulated and they can go like that. Okay, so that's everything you need to know about the UK ranking system as far as I know. Now, there is a national tour ranking system. And I get ever so confused about how this works myself, but here's what I've managed to piece together. It's not found anywhere on the website all the time. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. It's usually on IANASO. For those of you who don't know what IANASO is, it is basically like, if anyone's ever seen the football scores roll in on Final Score, it's something like that. So anytime there's a competition, you can go and select the competition. It will tell you what people are scoring, where everybody's sitting in the table, and everything like that. So I'll put a link down to that. Have an explore because it's a really, really good resource. I love that. So for all the national tours, basically what they do is they give you the national tour rankings. Now, this is not part of the UK ranking system. What they tend to do is they take the top 3 scores from the national tour only and they put them into their own separate ranking, and the top 8 from those rankings, they go into a playoffs. So like a separate tournament, like a kind of big grand finale that's broadcast live, 8 people start at the quarterfinals and you just work all your way through. If you YouTube National Tour Finals, then you will be able to find it. It's a cracking watch. There's some great people there, some great archers and some good matches. So I would highly recommend going and have a look at that. They're really, really good. So yeah, this ranking, only national tour events count towards it, and that's the only way to qualify for it. If you finish in the top 8 in the UK, you don't get anything apart from, hey, well done, you're top 8 in the UK. But national tour ranking, yes, you will get to go into a specialist competition and go up against the best in the UK that they have to offer. And that's pretty much everything. That's everything I have to offer in terms of rankings. I'll get into that. Okay, so that's everything that I can think of to do with the UK rankings. I hope you've learned something from it. I hope you've enjoyed it. For my next information dump, what I'm going to do is give you some information on how to enter competitions, what to expect when you get there, the difference between UK and record status competitions, what different rounds you have to do, just so that if you're going to your first competition, you're not kind of stuck in the headlights and freeze up. But the thing is, I very much doubt that would happen to many people, because competitions are so much fun and you can meet some brilliant people. Some of the best people I've ever met have been at archery. So, you know, if you are going to a competition, before I get that video out, please relax, please enjoy it. It's a fantastic experience. And one thing I did forget to mention is that you cannot get an indoor ranking. It's outdoor rankings only. They don't have a system in yet to rank people indoors. That's not a thing. So again, I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I hope you've learned something, and hopefully I shall see you next time. I'm going to do the standard plug thing that everybody does at the end of their YouTube videos and say a like and a subscribe. That will help. So if you are interested, I do have a performance journal that is on offer. I do have t-shirts and hats and stuff if you want some of those. All proceeds go to me buying new equipment, so you know, spend your Christmas money wisely, and hopefully I shall see you out there on the range.